before. And in this particular part, what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss word formation process, right? Second is called as the nature of sentences and connected text. Then we'll also discuss syntax and discourse. Then we'll also discuss language and meaning. Language and meaning. That's called as the semantics, isn't it? Uh, if you talk about the first one, word formation process. Now, what is that? Word formation process is the way. It is nothing but the way where you create new words, and that are created in a language using different methods. So, like adding prefixes or suffixes. Not only that, adding prefixes or suffixes, you also are combining words, or you can say you can shortening the words, or you can say that creating acronym. Do you understand acronyms? No? WHO, World Health Organization. What do you find out? WHO, World Health Organization. Right. HIV, human, what is that? Human immune virus. That is one. So you also find out that called as many words are there which are acronym in form, and that can be used in the form of means of full form, isn't it? That is known as a word formation process. So in word formation process, what do we find out? Suffixes, combining words, shortening words, and acronym words. So that is what word formation process. When we talk about word formation process, um, in in this you find out what different words in which new words are. The first one is called as a, like I pointed, combining words, isn't it? Shortening or borrowing words from the other language. The first one is called as affixation. What is that affixation? What do you mean by affixation? The meaning of affixation is called as adding parts of words. Adding parts of words or parts to a word, you can say. Let's say that if you talk about prefix, what is prefix? What do you mean by prefix? The word that used before the word. That is known as a pre. Pre means before. Prefix. So that is known as a before the any root word. Whatever the word you use is known as a prefix. Let's say that the word called as a happy. You say unhappy, isn't it? You say behave, misbehave. You say associate. You say disassociate, isn't it? If you say that means anthropologist or anthropology, philanthropology or philanthropy, isn't it? Anthropy, philanthropy. Or you talk about any word you take. So when we use nothing but a prefix, experience, inexperience, exonerate, inexonerate, isn't it? In that case, you would find out that before the root word, any word is used, which is known as a prefix. Got the point? What is suffix? Suffix is called as after the root, right? After the root word. So you can say that possible, possibilities, right? Courage, courageous, right? Outrage, outrageous. Pessimism, you can say optimistic, optimism. Even optimistic also. IC is there, ISM is there. So AT is there. So cognate, right? Or you talk about any word where we use the suffix. Suffix is known as after the root word. Let's say that you say teach. You use the teacher. Teacher, isn't it? So like that, those are called as prefixes and suffixes, which are known as the affixation, right? One of the ways through which we add word to the root, right? Next stage called as a compounding. What is compounding? Compounding are called as a joining two words. Joining two words together. That is known as a compounding. When we say that compounding, we can say toothbrush, toothbrush, isn't it? We say that sunlight, sunlight, isn't it? So like that, can you make some more words? Bathroom, bathroom. What else? High school, high school. What else? Ah, get out, get out. Good. Any other word? Photograph, photograph. Ah, come on. That is a phrasal verb. Okay. But when you talk about compounding words, it means you take one word and you add with the another word together, which is known as a compounding. You can talk any of the any of the word. Window glass, isn't it? So you can talk about oh, classroom, isn't it? So those are known as a compounding. Got the point? Next, it's called as a blending. So the first one we understood is called as a fixation. Second, we understood that called as a compounding. Third, we are going to discuss is called as a blending. What do you mean by blending? Now, mixing two words to make a new one. Mixing two words to make a new one. Let's say that if you talk about breakfast plus lunch, breakfast plus lunch, what you call brunch, brunch. So when somebody eats nothing but a breakfast with lunch is known as a brunch. Let's say that you have not taken the breakfast food, right? And you immediately join in the lunch. So your mother said that, okay, since I have something in the breakfast that I forgot to give you. And she served the same food in lunch. So, and your friend said that, Reba, you are eating brunch. It means breakfast and lunch together. Isn't it? Likewise, you can also say smoke plus fog. Smoke plus fog. What do you say that? Smog. S-M-O-G. Smog. Which is nothing but called as a blending. Isn't it? Mixing two words together. But both of the words are not spoken. Right? You find out that it is mixed and it produces another word. Right? We say no technology, right? And Mahindra, Tech Mahindra, right? So you say that information system, Infosys, information system, Infosys, isn't it? So that's known as a blending. Got the point? Likewise, we also talk about another one that is known as a clipping, right? So please to understand what do you mean by that called as a means combining words, right? So when we talk about combining words, we talk about fixation, compounding, blending, then clipping. So what is clipping? Clipping is called as a making it short. Making it short. Like you can say mixing two words to make a new one. Again, how? Or shortening a long word. Shortening a long word means when you say advertisements, advertisement. So advertisement becomes shortening ad. We say no, ad is coming in the movie, right? So in that case, ad is called as a shortening. You don't say advertisement, ads, right? So ARTS nahi, AD, right? So we also say that laboratory becomes lab. Very good. So in that case, you would find out those are nothing but called as a clipping. Clipping. Professor becomes prof, right? So, so we generally say that what EX, right or not? So similar to that, etc. become ETC, isn't it? So those are nothing but called as a clipping, right? Then next one is called as acronyms. We understood what acronyms are all about, using the first letters of each word to form a new word, isn't it? Let's say that if I talk about example, NASA, isn't it? NASA, what do we say that? National Aeronautics and Space Administration, right? We find out NASA, which is acronym. The full form is National Aeronautics and that space administration. Likewise, we also say FIFA. FIFA is called as a Federation International Day Football Association. FIFA, isn't it? Now, did you understand acronyms? Now, we also find out another one is called as the sixth one, which is conversion, right? When we talk about conversion generally using the same word in a different way. That is known as a conversion. Let's say that Google, right, which is a noun. Google is a noun. But when you use it that I will Google it. I will Google it means what? I will search in the Google, right? So I will find out. I will Google it. It's called as I will find out. So in which you would find out Google is a verb. But at the same time, when you say email, right? You can email is a noun. You can also say she emailed me. She emailed me. That is known as a conversion. The meaning of conversion is called as you use the word which is a noun into verb. You use the verb into noun, right? So when you use many of the words, right? Any words you can photo is a noun. You can say that means he will photo, right? He will photo the recent. You can say that what do we say that recent pictures, right? So it means it may be called as he took the photo, right? So in that case, you talk about any of the words. Let's say that strength. Strength is a noun. You can say that he strongly replied. Strength becomes strong, right? Then after weight become wide, isn't it? Wide become weight. So in that case, conversion is generally known as a what? Using the same word in a different way. Got the point? So this is how new words are created in English. Now, these are nothing but indicating as a word formation process. The next one which we talk about is called as the nature of sentences and connected text. But before we go to the nature of sentence and context, means connected text, let me point out nature of sentences and connected text. Here you would find out to know the definition. So what nature of sentences and connected text tells us? The nature of sentences refers to the different types of sentences. Because here we are first we talk about means formation of words. There are 6 different formation of words. The second we are learning about nature of sentences and connected text. Like when we say that nature of sentences and connected text, we understand the nature of sentences refer to the different types of sentences. Like you can say statements, a declarative statement, adjective statement, affirmative statement. These are called as positive statements. So these are statements. Similar to that, we also say interrogative statement or questionable statements. So statements also known as a commands, order, isn't it? There are 4 different types of sentences. Declarative statements, interrogative statements, imperative statement, and exclamatory sentences, isn't it? So, and how they are structured. These sentences are structured. How they are structured and how they are connected text refer to how sentences are linked together to form meaningful paragraphs and stories, isn't it? Because when we talk about sentences, sentences are 4 types, and these sentences are adjective or declarative, imperative, exclamatory, and interrogative. But these sentences are help us in what? Help us in connecting text, and also how these sentences are linked together to form meaningful paragraphs. Sentences to paragraph, paragraph to passage, right? And passage to book, isn't it? Now, if you talk about nature of sentences, we find out that when the different types of sentences are formed and they are connected to create meaningful conversations, meaningful stories, and meaningful text, isn't it? Let's talk about that the type of sentences. When we say declarative sentences, what do you mean by declarative sentences? The meaning of declarative sentences are nothing but called as the sentences that give information. Sentences that give information. Let's say that the sky is blue, right? The sky is blue. So in that case, here I provide a statement which for the sake of your information, right? Second is called the interrogative sentence. In interrogative sentences, we generally ask question, right? Let's say that what's your name or what's your name, isn't it? In that, I want to know your name, right? I want to know your name. That's why I ask a question, isn't it? That is known as an interrogative sentence. Imperative sentence, when we talk about imperative sentence, we understand sentences that give a command or order, isn't it? Let's say that please sit down, right? So please stand up, go out, right? Or get out, or you bring me a glass of water. So these are nothing but called as a means what imperative sentences that give us the command, right? Likewise, we have the last one that's called as exclamatory sentences. When we say that exclamatory sentences, sentences that show strong emotion, sentences that show strong emotions. Like we say that, wow, that's amazing. Wow, that's amazing. So look, here comes the bus. Look, there she goes. Or you can say that, look, we have only 3 students. Or you can say that, hooray, India wins the match or India won the match, isn't it? Or you can say that, uh, uh, surprise or alas, the man died last night, right? Or you can say that what? OMG, oh my God, right? So in that case, these are nothing but known as exclamatory sentences that show nothing but a strong emotion, right? So that is what nothing but the sentences, isn't it? Now, how this sentence structure? How this sentence structure? So whether you say, oh, that's amazing, or you say, please sit down, or you say the sky is a blue, or you say that, what's your name? So this is nothing but a what set of words that join together and form a meaningful sentence, isn't it? Now, but now the question is called as how this sentence created, the sentence structure. So if you say that the sentence structure, the minimum simple sentence is what? One subject, one verb, and one object, isn't it? Subject, a verb, and object. So therefore, that is called as a sentence structure, isn't it? If you have a subject, if you have an object, if you don't have verb, then you can't call it sentence. If you have a verb, if you have a verb, if you have an object, then it is a sentence. If you have a verb, if you have a subject, then also it is a sentence. How? Let's say that if I say, the birds fly. The birds fly. So in that case, the birds fly. Or you can say birds fly. In that case, what do you find out? Birds is the subject, fly is the verb. Isn't it? Birds is the subject, fly is the verb. Who flies? Birds fly. Birds, what birds do? Birds fly. In that case, you find out it is a sentence, right? So you can also say that thank you. Thank you. So thank you. Thank is the verb, you is the object. Thank is the verb, you is the object. Isn't it? In that case, what do you find out? It is also sentence, right? Sit down. Here you would find out sit is the verb and down is not the object. Down is called as an adverb. Sit down. In that case, the only verb also can form as a sentence, isn't it? So verb is the most important part in the sentence structure. So, and if I talk about sentence structure, a sentence structure, please to remember, a sentence structure can be formed with only verb, right? Sentence structure can be formed with the subject with the verb. Sentence structure can be formed verb with object. But sentence structure cannot be verb if you don't have the verb, right? and only subject and objective, right? So that is what simple sentence. In simple sentence, we have one subject, one verb, one object. Clear? Now, second is called as a compound sentence. When we talk about compound sentence, what do we find out? We understand simple sentence. When we talk about compound sentence, in compound sentence, we find out two simple sentences are present, right? Two simple sentences that are joined with what? And, but, so, right? So these are the words which are called as means discourse markers or indicators, which also known as a conjunction and, but, so these are conjunctions. So compound sentence says that when two sentences are joined with these conjunctions, then we call it compound sentence. Let's say that if I say, she sings a song, right? She sings a song and she plays the piano. She sings a song and she plays the piano, isn't it? She sings a song and she plays the piano. Now, what do you find out? She sings a song is a simple sentence because one subject, one word, one object, and is a conjunction, and is a conjunction. Then she plays the piano. She is a subject, plays is the verb, the piano is the object. Now, here you would find out means what? In a sentence, two simple sentences are joined with and, but, so will known as a compound sentence. Compound, isn't it? Now, the next one is called as a complex sentence. Now, what is complex sentence? Now, when you say that complex sentence, in this complex sentence, one sentence will be the main, one main sentence, right, with a dependent sentence. Now, what is dependent sentence? The dependent sentence is an incomplete sentence. Incomplete sentence, right? So, one main sentence with a dependent sentence. Like you can say, she sings. You will say, she sings what? Right? So, you can say that she sings a song. She sings a song. Why? Because she loves music. She sings a song because she loves music, isn't it? Now, in that case, what happened? Because she loves music is known as a what kind of a sentence? Now, dependent sentence. Dependent sentence on whom? Now, the main sentence. What is that main sentence? She sings a song, isn't it? So, therefore, it is known as a complex sentence. Am I clear? Right. Now, the next one is called as a syntax and discourse. Syntax and discourse. Now, what is that syntax and discourse? Now, when you say that syntax is the set of rules. Syntax is what? Set of the rules that determine how words are arranged. How words are arranged to form correct sentence, isn't it? Now, if I say that a teacher teaches, you can say that what a teacher teaches English, right? A teacher teaches English, right? Or an English teacher teaches English language, right? So in that case, if I say teaches English and teacher English, will it be correct? No, because the order of the words in the sentence is not correct. The syntax is wrong, isn't it? Now, in that case, when we say that syntax definition, we say that what? Syntax is the set of rules that determine how words are formed or how words are arranged to form correct sentences. Understood? That is what syntax. Now, second is called as a discourse definition. When we say that discourse definition, discourse, what is that? That discourse is the way. Discourse is the way we organize and we connect sentences. We organize and we connect sentences in conversations, stories, essays, or speeches to make them meaningful. Did you get the point? So we talk about the thing, but the syntax and means discourse. Now, when we talk about syntax and discourse, we find out that means the first one, syntax, how we arrange words correctly in a sentence. Let's say that if I say basic sentence structure, we know that one subject, one verb, and one object. In English, we find out the basic sentence structure in English follows with what? Subject, verb, and object. SVO, right? SVO, which is called as a basic sentence structure. That is the order. If I write, she eats an apple, which is a what? She is the subject, eats is the verb, and an apple is called as object. But if I write eats an apple, she, it is not correct, right or not? So, because she eats an apple is the correct order. So, here we find out that means how the order of the words are kept, right? And that their syntax helps us, right? So, if we also go with the changing word order can change meaning. Changing word order can change meaning. So, we understood basic sentence structure. Now we understand that changing word order can change meaning. Let's say that the cat chased the dog. The cat chased the dog. So, what do you think that? The cat is the one who is chasing or that is chasing? The cat is the one that is chasing. Now, do you consider that the cat will chase the dog? Will the cat attack the dog? Now, if I say that the dog chased the cat, so what do you find out? It is correct. Now, that is known as a changing word order can change meaning. So we need to understand what you are writing. So the student means give the lecture in the class, right, to the teacher. Now, in that case, it sounds well, not impossible, but that again called as a not logic. If you say the teacher teaches in the class to the students, then it is okay. So that is what we talk about changing word order can change the meaning, right? Let's say that last night I had my dinner with a leopard. Last night I had dinner with a leopard under the tree. Now leopard, you understand? Leopard. So last night I had dinner with a leopard under the tree. Now what do you find out? Now it is not indicating about incorrect. The sentence structure is okay, right? The sentence structure is okay, but the sounds and the meaning of the sentence it changed, isn't it? The sentence meaning it changed. What happened when you speak to others? You need to observe that what you are speaking. Maybe your order of the sentences are correct, right or is correct. But matter is what? Whether the meaning of the sentence, right, or meaning of the statement is correct or not. That also we need to check, right? So therefore, what we can find out in syntax, we look at the two things. One is called as a sentence order, right? Basic sentence order or structure. Second is called as a meaning. That can change, isn't it? Okay. So the next one, that is what syntax. Next one is called as a discourse. When we talk about discourse, we understand that longer language and structures like conversation, stories, and essays. Right? That is what discourse. So discourse is nothing but how sentences and paragraphs are organized in conversation, stories, speech, and essays. Right? Let's say that if I talk about types of discourse, how many types of discourse we have? We have a discourse, two types, right? Or you can say that means, three types even. Like what? Now one is called as, types of discourse is two types. One is called as a spoken discourse and the other one is called as a written discourse, right? Spoken discourse and written discourse. Like in spoken discourse, what happened? We talk about conversations, speeches, and interviews. Conversation, like you talk to each other, right? That's a conversation between two persons, isn't it? So speech, you give a speech to before the class, right? So interviews, so four of the people are taking your interviews, ask about your family, ask about you, ask about your education, isn't it? Now these are nothing but called as a spoken discourse. The second one is called the written discourse. When we say that written discourse, what written discourse are? Now you can talk about essays, you write essays. You talk about reports, you write reports. You talk about novels, right? You talk about articles, emails, all these things you write, isn't it? Or type. So in that case, the types of discourse are two, written and spoken, or spoken and written. Second one is called as a, when we talk about examples of discourse in writing, how do you express those spoken and written in writing? How you express that discourse in writing? Let's say that means when you go for the discourse in writing, we generally focus with the what starts with the main idea, right? Which is known as the introduction. When you start writing anything, your first priority is called as the introduction. Second is called as a body. Third one is called as a conclusion. Introduction, body, and conclusion. In introduction, we generally start with the main idea, body that indicates or explains with the details, explains with what? Details, and conclusion, which is known as the summarizes everything. Right? So, did you understand? Introduction, body, and conclusion. So, those are nothing but helping us in discourse in writing. Then we also find out examples of discourse in speaking, right? What is that? Now, let's say that a teacher explains topic. How a teacher explains topic? A teacher explains a topic step by step, isn't it? Step by step, so that students understand the idea clearly. Like here, when we start the topic, we discuss nothing but a step by step, isn't it? First is called as a, we talk about, we are going to study, these are the topics, code 2, unit 4. So the first one is a word formation process. We talk, second one is called the nature of sentences and connected text. Third one is syntax and the discourse. And fourth one is language and meaning, semantics. Then we talk about definitions. Then we talk about means examples. Then we go for the detailed explanation, isn't it? Or detailed explanation, and then after we talk about examples, right? So that is what the discourse is all about. Discourse in speaking. So how many types of discourse? Two, spoken and written. And in written, we find out introduction, body, and conclusion. And then discourse in speaking, where we find out step-by-step discussion. Isn't it? Now, the next one is called as language and meaning in semantics. When we talk about language and meaning in semantics, so what do we find out? Now, generally, when we talk about language and meaning, semantics, what is that? Language and meaning. So semantics is the meaning of what, or study of the meaning of words. Semantics is what? The study of meaning of the words. Not only words, but also phrases, but also sentences, including how words can have different meaning depending on their use, isn't it? Now, when you talk about semantics, you do not only observe the meaning of the word or words, you also observe the meaning of the phrases, you observe the meaning of the sentence or sentences, isn't it? So, and you also understand their usage and how their uses differ in meaning, isn't it? So, in that case, if I talk about semantic language and meaning, so we talk about there are different processes through which we learn semantics. One is called as a denotations and connotations. Denotations and connotation. Now, what is denotation? What is connotation? Now, when we talk about denotation, it means the dictionary meaning of a word. Denotation is what? Dictionary meaning of a word. If I talk about the word which is called as a dog, let's say that the word, very simple word called as a dog. If you search in the dictionary, you would find out a four-legged animal, isn't it? That barks. Four-legged animal that barks. If I say grief, Grief, then in the dictionary it is written that called as a sorrow or sad. Sorrow or sad. If I talk about means abstract in dictionary, it is known as a short or summary, right? So that is nothing but called as a, on the basis of the dictionary, we draw the meaning of the exact meaning of the word, right or not? But the second one is called as a connotation. Connotation. Now, what is that connotation? Connotation is called as the feeling or idea a word gives. The feeling or idea that a word gives. Let's say that you are reading a book, right? So in that you find out a sentence. The sentence states that no, the enchantment of the family, right, turns so. The enchantment of the family turns so when when it heard about the accident of the accident of its head or its head of the family. Right. Now, in that case, what happened? When you talk about the word enchantment, you find out that what the meaning of enchantment could be joy, happiness, right? That turns a sore. Sore means called as means hatta, or you can say that not feeling good or called as a sad, isn't it? So when you talk about connotation, so connotation indicates nothing but the feeling of a or idea, right, that the word gives, isn't it? So that is a connotation, right? Then the second one is called as a semantic relationship. How words relate to each other, that is also matter. Like you talk about synonyms, you talk about antonyms, you talk about homonyms, you talk about polysemy, right? Polysemy. When we say that synonym, we understand synonym means similar meaning, isn't it? Let's say that happy becomes joyful, bad becomes that called as not good, right? Yes, fast becomes quick, isn't it? Antonyms called as opposite meaning, hot, cold, big, small, isn't it? Opposite meanings. Homonyms are called as the same spelling, different meaning. Same spelling, different meaning. Meaning like bat means insect, bat means wood, right? So that is used in cricket. So then similar to that, we also talk about polysemy. What is polysemy? We talk about one word that have many meaning. One word that have many meaning. Like you can say the word bright, Brigst. Bright means shining. Bright means shining. Bright means light. Or bright means also intelligent person, isn't it? So in that case, one word that have many meaning. We also find out means different usage in the sentence, isn't it? Let's say that when you talk about example of semantics in a sentence, right? Example of semantics in sentence. Let's say that if we take the literal meaning, what do you mean by literal meaning? The word whose meaning that you draw from the dictionary. That is called as a literal meaning. Let's say that the actual meaning that you draw, isn't it? So if we take literal meaning, it means she is an actual star in the sky. She is an actual star in the sky. So if we take the figurative meanings, it means she is famous or talented. Right. Let's talk about the exact sentence, which have a two different meaning. One is called as a literal meaning, and the other one is called as a figurative meaning. If you say that she is an actual star in the sky, right? actual star in the sky. So star means star that you find out a sign in the sky. But if you talk about figurative meaning, you can say that she is an intelligent person, or she is an intelligent or famous, or you can say talented woman, isn't it? So that is what. So finally, what if I talk about that? We talk about word formation, right? We talk about nature of sentences, we and connected text. We talk about syntax and discourse and semantics, meaning of words and sentences, isn't it? So when we understand how new words are created in a language using different methods like fixation, compounding, blending, clipping, and acronym, isn't it? So similar to that, we also talk about nature of sentences and connected text. We say that how sentences are structured and linked together to make meaningful communication, isn't it? And then we talk about syntax and discourse, in which we understand syntax deals with sentence structure and word order, while discourse focuses on larger conversation, stories, and written text. And finally, we talk about semantics, which is indicating meaning of words and sentences. So the study of how words and sentences create meaning, right, while you are forming any sentence, isn't it? So that's what all about. I hope you understood. I have sent you that notes, huh?